I have been investigating megalithic and pyramid sites for the last 4 decades. And I have concluded that almost everything they teach us about the ancient history is wrong. The origin of man, civilizations, and pyramids. For us, Homo sapiens, we are thought that we are the product of the evolution. We came from the primitive ape, and it's wrong. We are product of the genetic engineering. Secondly, they are telling us that the civilizations started 7,000 years back in Sumeria. Again, wrong. What they tell us in Encyclopedia Britannica or modern times Wikipedia, Sumeria, Babylon, Akkad, Assyria, Hittite, ancient Egypt, India, and China is just the last cycle in humanity. There has been, in last 100,000 years, at least 5 civilizational cycluses. And lastly, they are telling us that pyramids are built in Egypt and Mexico. And that would be wrong. They were built all over the planet, on all 6 continents. And Egyptian pyramids are not, as they program us, tombs for the pharaohs. So let's start. Maybe the most important artifacts from the ancient Egypt is actually not in the Egypt. It is in Egyptian Museum in Turin, Italy. It is called Turin King List. It shows all the rulers of the ancient Egypt. The papyrus is 1.7 meters long, 6 feet in length, and 45 centimeters or 1.5 feet wide. In 11 columns, it shows all the Egyptian rulers divided into 3 phases. The third phase, is the phase of sons of gods. And they are Egyptian pharaohs as we know them. Dynasty number 1, 2, 3, Pharaoh Djoser. Number 4, Pharaoh Khufu, Cheops, or Pharaoh Khafre, or Mykerinos, or Mycere. Then dynasty number 5, 6, 7, and so on. Some rulers would rule Egypt 10, 20 years, some of them, like Pharaoh Ramses II, most probably 62 or 67 years. The phase before that was the phase of the demigods. They would rule Egypt 200 to 300 years each. And the first phase was the era of gods. Not capital G, but the small g, gods. And they would rule Egypt 1,000 years each. And they came from the kingdom of heaven, and they descended to kingdom of earth 42,700 years ago. And if you wonder who really built the most monumental pyramids on the planet, or even obelisks, or the most beautiful temples, now we know the answer and the time frame. The 4th Egyptian dynasty, 4,500 years back, simply did not have diamond tools to shape granite, cranes to move blocks several hundred tons in weight, or to install them at the Giza, Saqqara, Hawara, Dahshur, Meidum, or other places. So we go back tens of thousands of years back. And not only that, even more important artifacts is to the east. It's called Sumerian King List. And the first gods came to this planet 273,000 years back. Al-Hajar ruled ancient Sumeria for 36,600 years. So we see that what they teach us in schools is wrong. When it comes to the pyramids, they are not tombs for the pharaohs. According to the non-scientific Wikipedia, or Smithsonian, or Encyclopedia Britannica, there are 118 pyramids on Egyptian soil. Well, personally, I have researched, visited 155, and they are in my books. Not a single one has mummy. The pharaohs were buried, but in the Valley of Kings, in Thebes, in Memphis, in Abydos, and Dendera, not in the pyramids. So if not tombs, then what is the purpose of pyramids in Egypt or other places? Because pyramids are built in Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Belize, the Mayan pyramids, more than 100,000. In China, in the central province of Shanxi, more than 250 of them, and 20 oldest and the biggest pyramids were built 12,500 years ago. Or Indonesia, Gunung Padang, 28,000 years old pyramid in Western Java. Or in Cambodia, Koh Ker Pyramid. Or in Australia, Gympie Pyramid, which was unfortunately destroyed last year by Australian government building a highway exactly where the pyramid was located. Or 300 pyramids in Peru, or Acapena Pyramid Complex in Bolivia, 120 Cahokia pyramids in southwestern corner of the state of Illinois, Cahokia National Park, or pyramids, or as they call them, earthen mounds in Wisconsin, to the north, or to the south, state of Texas. In Europe, 3 Palencia pyramids, 43 pyramids on island of Sicily in Italy, 1 in Sardinia, 60 in ancient Greek territory, before ancient Greek civilization. The world of the past was the world of pyramids. And the Bosnian Pyramids is the only project run by the non-profit, non-government foundation, which I established back in 2005 under the name Archaeological Park Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun Foundation. And we are the only one who actually opened a huge archaeological project to the other sciences other than classical sciences like archaeology, geology, Egyptology. We have experts from many different fields. We have people who deal with the high-tech technology. So georadar, geothermal, satellite, experts in energy phenomena, the physicists, electrical engineers, sound engineers, telecommunication engineers, medical doctors, and we apply 3 different methods of dating: radiocarbon, uranium thorium analysis, and luminescence analysis. So far, we've done 28 different dating of our organic samples. What are our findings? Number 1, in the central Bosnian town of Visoko, we discovered pyramid complex consisting of at least 6 pyramids, which we named the Bosnian Pyramids of the Sun, Moon, Dragon, Earth, Love, and the 6th pyramid, the tumulus complex. In archaeology, tumulus is artificial conical hill. And a huge network of underground tunnel. When I first met Alan in New York, at that time, we had only 2 entrances. that we discovered to those prehistorical tunnels. Today, 2023, we have 7 of them, which we called Ravne 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and KTK tunnels. So far, we have cleared 3.2 kilometers of those exciting tunnels. It's 2 miles. And we suspect that the original underground prehistorical tunnel network is more than 60 miles in length. So 2 miles we have cleared, secured, and opened for the public. When you discover 50 yards of prehistorical tunnels in Mexico, Teotihuacan, let's say, it's a worldwide sensation. And we have miles of them that you can actually enter. Now, archaeologically speaking, this is huge discovery. As far as the height, in the last 10 years, the most common and the most advanced method is called LiDAR technology. You fly with a plane, you have a laser machine, you shoot laser rays, rays goes between the leaves and the branches, hit the ground, so we know exactly the height of the pyramids in the jungles of Guatemala, Honduras, or Peru, and in Bosnia. So far, we thought that the biggest pyramid in the world was the Great Pyramid of Egypt, with a height of 146.6 meters. The Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is 368 meters, 2.5 times higher than the Great Pyramid of Egypt. As far as the volume, more than 10 times. Egyptian pyramid, 6 million tons of blocks. Bosnian, more than 20 million tons of blocks. In Egypt, we know limestone and granite. In Bosnia, we know also 1 meter, 3.5 feet below the soil, we are discovering blocks, rectangular or square. We've analyzed them at 7 institutes for materials. In Italy, Politecnico di Torino, Geopolymer Institute in France, institutes in Czech Republic, Slovakia, Bosnia. They all told us it was an artificially made concrete. Better quality than what we can make today. The hardness of our concrete today in 21st century is on the scale from 10 to 60 megapascals. 60 made in US or Germany. The concrete on the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun from 73 to 155 megapascal. The next element of pyramids is the orientation of the sides. All the pyramids in Egypt are oriented to the north. Cambodia, north. China, north. Indonesia, north. Peru, north. Cahokia, north. So far, we thought that the best orientation is the Great Pyramid of Egypt, with the error from the perfect cosmic north, from the northern star, is 0 degrees and 3 minutes. And that's perfect. Khafre, the second largest, 0 degrees, 3 minutes. Mykerinos, 0 degrees, 18 minutes. Bent Pyramid in Dahshur, 0 degrees, 12 minutes. A red pyramid in Dahshur, 0 degrees, 5 minutes. But the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, according to the State Institute for Geodesy, after 3 engineers came with a scientific instrument called total station, the error is 0 degrees, 0 minutes, and only 12 seconds, the most precise in the world. The biggest, the best oriented, the best quality concrete. Now, below the pyramids, the most extensive underground tunnel network. So, archaeologically speaking, this is huge discovery. But when it comes to the age, this is the most exciting part. Archaeologists and historians today because of English and French elites back in the 18th and 19th century, and then German and, of course, American nowadays. They insist that there was nothing in the Paleolithic times before the end of the last ice age, 12,000 years plus. However, discovery of Göbekli Tepe by the mainstream scientist by the name Dr. Klaus Schmidt from Germany showed that this site is extremely old. Officially, they are saying 11,600, a little bit less than 12,000. However, when I spoke to late Dr. Klaus Schmidt in Turkey, he told me it was probably between 15 and 18,000 years. Machu Picchu in eastern Peru is not just the royal retreat for Incas 800 years back. There are 4 distinctive civilizations, and the first one, more than 54,000 years. Even the Pyramid of the Sun, which actually consists of 3 pyramids, one inside another one, is more than 12,000 years. And we heard lately, and especially 18 years ago, when Dr. Danny Hillman discovered Gunung Padang, the Hill of Light, the pyramid in Western Java, that it was 28,000 years old. So obviously we need to move the boundaries when it comes to the age. In our case, the pyramids in Bosnia are covered by soil and clay. If we can figure out the age of the coverage, then we can get to the minimum age of the structure below. The science that investigate the origin of soil is called pedology. Institute for Pedology took samples from the Bosnian Pyramids of the Sun and the Moon and concluded that the age of soil is about 15,000 years. So if the material that covered the pyramids is 15,000 years old, obviously the pyramid structure itself is much older. Our 2 Italian archaeologists back in 2010, Niccolo Visconti and Riccardo Brett, when they were removing the soil, they discovered on the first layer of concrete blocks organic material. Now, this is on the top of the structure. It will also give us the minimum age. We did radiocarbon dating, and the age is 24,800 years plus minus 200 years, meaning we go back for 25,000 years. And it's still the minimum age. If we could find organic material between the blocks, then we could get to the real calendar age of the construction. And that's exactly what happened with our archaeological manager, Tim Moore from New Zealand. With his crew of volunteers, he discovered fossilized leaves between 2 concrete blocks, first row and second row. How did they get there? The builders were pouring the layers of concrete. First layer, the second, the third. The wind was blowing, bringing those leaves. They placed the final layer of concrete and covered those leaves. But they are organic material. You can date them. We did it. The age, 29,200 years, plus minus 400 years. So we go back for 30,000 years. And this is not still the original age of construction. It's called radiocarbon date. To get a calibrated date, you need to add approximately 14%. The late Dr. Paul Laviolette, the great astrophysicist, who came to our sites 5 times, he calculated the real age of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, 33,600 years. So it falls exactly in the period when in Egypt and Sumeria we had those gods, beings who would live 1,000 years each and who would obviously have very advanced equipment, tools, skills. Now, this is the age. What is next? In archaeology, we have 5 questions. First one is what? So what we have in Bosnia is the Bosnian Pyramid Complex. The next one is when? I just answered that one, 30,000 years back. The next one is by who? Well, I'm a scientist, open-minded, but still a scientist. I need scientific arguments to give some conclusions. So far, we don't have exact names of the builders, but we know that they were extremely advanced civilization because they were able to manipulate with the huge quantities of materials, building the biggest pyramid complex on the planet so far. The next question is how? Well, we are finding the best quality concrete. They were using pebbles, rocks, sand, and as a binder, they used melted clay, and they got a better quality concrete than what we use today. And the last question is why? So let's talk about why. What is the true purpose of pyramids? Archaeologists, who actually attack me the most, they cannot help us. Historians, they cannot help us. Museums, nobody teaches them about the true purpose of pyramids. They serve them fairy tales about pyramids being places where the kings were buried or princesses. But we need science to answer that question. People with the scientific instruments, physicists and engineers. We had, in a matter of 2 years, 5 independent teams of engineers and physicists coming from one from Croatia, another one from Serbia, the third one from Italy, the fourth one from Finland, the fifth one from Germany. They came at 5 different times. They brought their own equipment. They were doing measurements, especially on the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. And they have concluded that on the top, we have very specific energy phenomena. When in science you have such different scientific teams getting the same results, it is called an independent scientific verification of the phenomena. Which one? Energy beam, which is 28 kilohertz in frequency, which is electrical in nature. It's continuous because we measure it during the spring, summer, and fall, and winter. And the strength of the signal is getting stronger and stronger as it moves away from the top of the pyramid. In science, this phenomenon is called the scalar waves. The genius mind of Nikola Tesla investigating this phenomenon 125 years back. In the last 50 years, the Russian physicists, they were working on this phenomenon. And they both concluded that the speed of the scalar waves is much bigger than the speed of light. Now, speed of light, almost 300,000 kilometers per second, 122,000 miles per second, is huge. But for the cosmic purposes, it's rather slow. From here to the sun, it takes 8 minutes for light to get there. From here to the northern star, 700 years. From here to the center of our galaxy, Milky Way, 30,000 years. And then from here to the center of the universe, where the old guy in white robe with the long white beard is very busy creating the life, the planets and the star systems. Sitting, it takes 5 billion years. So, if you are a creator, you want to know what's happening with your children in a real time. You don't have a time to wait 5 billion years to understand what's happening in this star system or the other one. Well, the speed of the scalar waves is more than 100 million times bigger speed of light, making it the ideal medium for the communication on a huge, vast cosmic distances, the real long distances, not AT&T from Houston to Dallas. So our conclusion, the first potential purpose of pyramids is communication device. But it opens up some other questions. If our planet is point A, where is point B, and point C, and point D? So indirectly, we are getting to the conclusion that the pyramids were really built by more advanced civilization than us. The second purpose of pyramids. For that, we need to go in the Bosnian underground. Not political, which is very advanced, but archaeological. So, we have discovered 7 entrances to the underground tunnels. The first one, Rame tunnels, we cleared 2.7 kilometers, more than 1.5 miles, and we realized when you get into the tunnels, you breathe very well. As a matter of fact, the deeper you go, you breathe better and better. Now, it is not very logical because there is only one entrance. What you would expect is that the deeper you go, there is lack of oxygen. However, nothing in Bosnia is logical. What's happening inside? People who have some respiratory problems, asthma, for example, they go inside, they get outside, they don't need to use air pump, inhalers no more. People who have, let's say, high blood pressure, 180 over 120, they go into the tunnels, they come back, all calm, 120 over 80. People with high sugar, high glucose in the blood, they visit the tunnels, they come back, they can measure how much the sugar has been reduced. People with very serious health issues, they show the revolutionary advancement in their health. So even though we are not in the healing business, we don't give medical guarantees. But what we do, we measure. And this is what we measured. The tunnels are the combination of 10 different energy elements, and they are all measurable. The first one, the cosmic radiations. It's coming from above. Some of them are harmful. In the tunnels, 60, 80, 100 feet below the ground, no harmful cosmic radiations. The second one is natural radioactivity. It comes from the underground. Sometimes we walk the streets and we are not even aware that this radiation is attacking our body. And our body cells have enemies coming from above, coming from below. Well, in the tunnels, we regularly measure using Geiger-Miller counters the radiation level. It is always tens of times lower than the minimum allowed. So you go to the tunnels, you don't have your enemies. Number 3, geopathogenic radiations. That's, for example, underground water flow, negative energy coming, hitting our body. Or Hartmann intersections, energy line coming also under the ground, east, west, north, south, the places where they intersect, bad for us. If we have our bed above underground water or underground Hartmann intersections, we can't sleep, we are disturbed, we wake up in the morning, not rested, on the contrary, and so on. So in the tunnels, all those radiations are neutralized. Number 4, cell phones. We can't live without them. It doesn't matter if it is 3G in less developed countries, 4G or 5G in most of the Western countries. Extremely bad radiations. 3G, 2.4 gigahertz, 4G, 6 gigahertz, 5G, 28, 39, or 60 gigahertz, 60. You can breathe. Tomorrow, 6G, 300 gigahertz. These are radio waves. Our microwaves work on radio waves. And they cause all kinds of sicknesses, illnesses. They cause cancer. Well, in the Bosnian Pyramid tunnels, no signal for the cell phone. Number 5, no signal for the Wi-Fi. So we have no harmful radiations whatsoever. For the first time in our life, our body does not have enemies, and our body cell can start doing their job. What is their job? To fix the problems in our body. The regeneration process starts. Somebody has high blood pressure, or sugar, or tumor, or cancer, or mental problems, or they have damage in the energy fields. We have 7 of them. The first one is auric field. So the regeneration starts. And if we get lucky, rejuvenation process. Is it possibly one of the most important purposes of pyramids? Yes. Especially if you go to the planets that are not hostile, you need an equipment, you need a device that can help you regenerate after being exposed to all the harmful radiations. So these are the first elements. The other 5, the best frequency of electromagnetic field, 28 kilohertz, that's the frequency of our planet. She's our mother. Whatever comes from her is good for us. Number 7, the best frequency of the ultrasound, also 28 kilohertz frequency. This is the frequency of the levitation. Number 8, very low frequency. Actually, it's called ELF, extremely low frequency of 7.83 hertz. In science, it is called the original Schumann resonance. Well, we have had this resonance from about 12,000 years back until 1990s. But when we started developing our technologies, so much bad radiations contaminate, especially the big cities, TVs, computers, laptops, tablets, mobile phones, microwaves, satellite dishes, and so on. Big cities are so contaminated with bad electromagnetism, it affects this very low frequency. For example, in Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia, it's not 7.83 no more. It is 12 hertz. In Munich, Germany, 15 hertz. In New York, where Alan resides, I don't know if you're still there, it's about 18 hertz. 18 hertz. Now imagine, when we are born at 7.83 hertz. When we think, if somebody still do that, when we think, we create brain waves at 7.83 hertz. As long as our planet or our place of living is 7.83, we are in balance. But if it is like in New York or big cities, 18 hertz, there is a disbalance, and disbalance creates stress, which causes 75% of the diseases. It starts with a high blood pressure, respiratory problems, cardiovascular problems, heart attacks, and so on. And guess what? In the Bosnian pyramid tunnels and the Bosnian pyramids, 7.83. So we go back home to our home frequency. Then we have something that's called life energy or organ energy, or in Eastern traditions, prana or chi. There is an instrument, it's called experimental life energy meter. If you have instrument measures. So we've been measuring the level of organ energy on the scale from 0 to 100. The cities, 20% of life energy. Villages, 50%. Mountains, 60%. Bosnian pyramid tunnels, 100%. So the pyramids obviously somehow generate or at least amplify life energy. And number 10, it's called negative ions. What are the negative ions? The negative ions are some extra electrons in atoms or molecules. So they are negatively charged. They are in the air. If there is a dust is positively charged. They connect, they become heavy, they drop to the floor. So if you have negative ions in the air, you have dust. Basically, negative ions clear the air from the dust. They clear the air from smoke. They clear it from pollen. They clear it from microbes. And microbes are viruses, bacteria, fungi. For example, if corona was a virus, they would protect you from corona. And indeed, our site was the safest place from 2020 to 2023 during the crazy corona times. So, logical conclusion is more negative ions, better for us. In our offices, in our homes, for example, right now, there is about 20 or 30 or 50 negative ions per cubic centimeter. If you go outside to downtowns, to the cities, it's about 100. It's a little bit fresher. If you go to the mountain, like we measure it on 3 Bosnian mountains called Igman, Jahorina, and Bjelašnica, the values are between 750 and 1,000. What does that mean? It means that being on the mountains in the pine tree forest, it is 7 times healthier than in the downtowns of the big cities. Of course it is. It's a common sense. But in the Bosnian Pyramid tunnels, the instruments that we use, they are called air ion counters, produced by Alpha Lab from the US. We have 2 instruments always. The values during the summertime, when we have a lot of tourists, are between 20,000 and 50,000. And during the winter time, right now is a winter here in Bosnia, the values reach unbelievable level of 284,000 negative ions per cubic centimeter, which is the world record. I always carry those pieces of instruments with me when I travel different sites from Egypt to South Africa, Vietnam, America, Germany, Jordan, other places. The highest measured values were Great Zimbabwe, the megalithic conical towers in the state of Zimbabwe. During the storm, electricity, 100,000, and at the Niagara Falls, 100,000. In Bosnia, 273,000. Let me say this, everything above 5,000 has a healing properties. So now imagine when you put those 10 powerful energy elements together, absence of all harmful radiations and presence of the best energy properties, you get the safest and the healthiest place on the planet. A regeneration process starts. So our second conclusion as far as the pyramid energies was that they were used to protect what is the most important, the most precious to us, our health. And now it's all starting making sense. Instead of those huge structures being a resting place for one dead body, king or pharaoh, they were built for the generations to last, thousands of years. The third purpose of the pyramid energy, the most important liquid in our life, is the water. Some people are saying 75%. I would say probably 95% water. When you squeeze everything, the bones and the brain, you're getting water. So we discovered 5 tunnels in Bosnia with the water. It is not surface water. It's deep in the tunnels, deep below the ground. During the summertime, when it is dry outside, the water level does not drop. During the fall or spring, when there is a lot of rain, the water level does not go up, meaning that the water has been there for a very, very long time. It is not green and full of fungi. Why? Because of high concentration of negative ions. They are a barrier for all the microbes. We compare the samples of the pyramid water with our city water. Our city water, the medical authorities are saying, oh, it is safe to drink, no viruses, no bacteria, no fungi, pH is about 6, 6.5. Well, that's true. There are no viruses because it's been treated by chlorine, which is a poison. In some countries, they add fluoride. United Kingdom, Republic of Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, US, Argentina, Chile. Fluoride, until 50 years back, it was exclusively the poison for rats. Nowadays, they are saying it's good for our teeth. I would say so. It causes some teeth diseases, but the bigger problem is, of course, that it attacks directly to our brain. And then that's city water. The bottled water, people think it's safer, but it is not. Two biggest bottling companies in the US, two soda companies, of course, Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, and Europe, Nestle, they add to already energetically dead city water, they add aluminum, again, greatest enemy for our brain, bromium, barium, and some other heavy metals. Why they do that? That's another lecture. But the point is, our water that we drink, energetically dead, when we sent the samples of Bosnian city water to late Dr. Emoto in Japan 9 years back, we could see that the structure has been deformed. And when we sent the samples of pyramid water, even though it went through 3 different airports in Sarajevo, it went through Röntgen equipment, Frankfurt, and Tokyo, it still kept its beautiful hexagonal structure. Why hexagon? It's the most powerful geometrical shape when it comes to the energy, and the beautiful crystal-like structures, like we have Christmas trees everywhere in the molecular structure. Just by looking at it, you can say, hey, this is energetically alive. This is a happy water. This is high vibrational water. What does that mean, high vibration? What vibrations have to do with the pyramids? Oh, they do a lot. For the second time, Nikola Tesla. He said, if you want to discover the secrets of the universe, you need to view them through the energy, frequency, and vibrations. Well, guess what? Our pyramid project in Bosnia is not actually an archaeological project. That's secondary. This project is about the energy, because the pyramids are energy amplifiers. It's about frequencies, very specific frequencies, very beneficial to us. And it is about the vibrations. The pyramid energy affects the vibrations of everything they touch, whether it's people, plants, animals, water, even stones, mineral kingdom. So, the third purpose of pyramid energy, to improve the water. The fourth one, to improve the food. Why am I saying the food? We did experiments with the seeds of beans. We put bags with the seeds at home, control group, 1 bag in the tunnels, 1 on the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. After 15 days, we were checking the germinization process. The control group, only 60% of the seeds started growing. But from the tunnels and from the pyramids, 100%, meaning pyramid energy affects the DNA of the living beings. When we planted it, and the bean season is May to beginning of September, when we planted it in our beautiful park, we could see that the pyramid beans, were growing much quicker, healthier, stronger. So the pyramid energy affects the food. Number 5, a great brilliant Russian scientist called Professor Konstantin Korotkov brought us his instrument called BioWell that measures the auric field, the chakras, energy in the cells, and the stress level. In the last 9 years, since we've had it, we've measured 5,450 people before entering the tunnels and after coming back. Conclusion, more than 90% has improved auric field. They come in the damaged field. Why? Because of the stress. They come back new people. They bring back chakras to balance. They open them up. They reduce the stress level, and they increase the level of energy in our cells so we can fight against diseases. So, obviously, these are all functions of the pyramid energy. In the last few years, they've been telling us through the media that the key word is a vaccine. However, being vaccinated or non-vaccinated, you're going to get a virus or bacteria. And then the question is your immunity. And guess what? Visiting the tunnels and the pyramids, your immunity goes up. So obviously, the pyramids were not built for dead bodies. They were built for the communities to last for thousands of years. And this is a revolutionary advancement in one new science called the pyramid science. Many archaeologists, geologists, historians, whether they are mainstream or independent, they don't understand what we do because they don't have another reference. We are bringing fresh air in the world of science. When they don't understand you, they laugh at you or they attack you. But more evidence we produce, they are going silent. And then sometimes in the future, they will all realize that we were right all the way. This project is not only about archaeology and science and spirituality and energy and healing. It is also another segment. We purchased 100,000 square meters. It is more than 1 million square feet of the neglected, muddy, swampy land near the tunnels. I spent all my US savings. I came back from Houston to live here in Visoko. And we transformed it into one of the most beautiful parks in Europe with more than 60 different installations. We have concert stages, we have yoga or meditation stages, we have labyrinths of love, labyrinths of energy, labyrinths of healing. We have a time machine place where we tell the history of different civilizations. We have even tennis courts which were inaugurated with the best tennis player ever, Novak Djokovic, in the summer of 2022. So we combined sport, recreational activities, we combined the healthy food, healthy drinks, we combined yoga and meditation and festivals, festivities, and all of that for free. All our concerts are for free. All our activities are for free, book promotions and so on. So, this project has become about the new concept of living. What they promote us lately as a new Western values is transhumanism. They're telling us that 99.9% will be extension of technology, fully controlled by that technology. They'll be able to turn us on or off. And 0.025% or 3,000 super billionaires, they have different future. They think they can achieve immortality by combining their brain cells, neurons, with artificial intelligence. I have a bad news for them. Nothing is forever except for the creator. So this is the future they want to, force us to. You're saying no. Future is harmony with the nature and harmony among us. And that's what our project has become. Thank you very much. This project is different than any other. Why? All the archaeological projects are closed. You cannot go to Egypt and then just started digging the pyramids there, or in Peru, or in Mexico, or in China. Has to go to the universities after they get approval, but not in our case. We've been open for volunteers from the very beginning. So the volunteers camp is from June, July, August, September, and October. 5 full months. We give an opportunity to enthusiasts, to people who love history, people who want to become a part of a huge, exciting project. to come and join us. And really, in the last 14 years, we have had 3,750 volunteers who came from 64 countries and 6 continents. And they have become very active part of the discoveries. On the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, they are given the opportunity to dig, to remove the layers of soil, and discover the oldest and the best quality concrete. On the Moon Pyramid, to discover the beautiful pavements, terraces made from sandstone blocks and plates. The tumulus, the village of Vratnica, this coming year, 2024, through the georadar, we located the existence of the underground chamber. I purchased the properties there, and we plan for the next season to start digging there. Imagine excitement of discovering prehistorical chambers in the tumuli and the tunnels, of course. All the volunteers have the access, unlimited, while they are there. They can experience healing and spiritual properties of those tunnels, and at the same time, they are part of the discovery. In 2023, our group of volunteers discovered completely new entrance. How did they discover it? In one of the hills, which we purchased, there was a place where we suspected that the tunnels might exist. So they were digging, but nothing. Stratigraphy is very regular. But then, on the floor, they discovered conglomerate block. And then we remember such blocks were always sealing for the tunnels. So we went to dig under the block, and we discovered a small hollow place, which we expand, and then we enter to the tunnels, and the discover section, which was about 200 feet in length, it was open section, and to the left and to the right, many side tunnels, but they were all filled with the filler material and closed with the drywalls. Now imagine this excitement to the volunteers coming from their countries, from UK, from South Africa, from Slovenia, and then discovering the actual prehistorical tunnels. So they will be able to continue their work. In another tunnels, which we named Ramne 3 tunnels, which was discovered back in 2019. For a couple of seasons, our volunteers were located there. And what they discovered were 3,300 artifacts from different time periods. From late Middle Age, from early Middle Age, from Byzantine times, from ancient Roman, 2,000 years, and from Neolithic times, 6,000 years. Now imagine that. You are digging, you are going through the soil and dirt, and you start discovering pieces of ceramics or even metal pieces. Huge excitement. Now this discovery, even though those artifacts do not belong to the original builders 3,000 years back, but they still testify that in the last few thousand years, people were finding pieces of this underground tunnel network. They were getting inside, spending time, eating, sleeping, and we are finding the artifacts, the objects belonging to them. Very exciting. And for one more reason for me was important, you know how people who never came to Bosnia, they claim that Dr. Osmanagich, even though they don't call me doctor, they call Sam Osmanagich, is digging tunnels himself. Well, how to explain 3,300 artifacts from different time periods? Did I plant all of them there? Of course not. So I understand that when you are coming with the new ideas, there are many people who want to keep the status quo. But when you are coming with the huge, groundbreaking ideas, then you have a lot of powerful enemies against you. In my case, from the cultural establishment, archaeologists and geologists and museum curators. And of course, they are connected to very powerful elites, those who control the history. By controlling the history, they control the present. Imagine you have a small non-profit foundation and one small guy somewhere in remote Bosnia changing the human history forever without them being able to control it or change it. Of course, they use everything they have. They have a lot. It's big TVs, outlets from National Geographic and so on. It's Wikipedia, it's Smithsonian, it's Encyclopedia Britannica, it's European Archaeological Association, it's local historians and archaeologists. But then we need to think about our mission. We all came with a mission in our life. Unfortunately, majority of the people don't think about it. Maybe when they come to their 70s and 80s, they think, hey, what was the reason I spent the time here on Earth? And usually it's too late. But if you figure out your mission earlier, then you will be able to sail through your challenges in the life much easier and to keep your dignity. And this is what we do. We do what we love to do. We know that scientific arguments are on our side. We know that we are fulfilling our dreams. And this is what I would recommend to everyone. Despite all the obstacles, just go for your dreams. And that would be all for me today, guys. Anybody there? 7 minutes.
Hey, Sam.
Yes. Yes.
Hi. Thank you. You know, oh, it's sunny here, but it's really interesting the research you've gotten to do over the last years. Who do you suspect actually built this? I mean, who were these people? I know you can't tell, but who do you think?
Well, indirectly, we know that they were very skilled. They knew how to manipulate with the materials. They knew how to change the molecular structure of the materials to produce the best quality concrete. They knew elements of sacred geometry, and when you apply them, you actually move the energy. What does that mean? What are the elements of sacred geometry? For example, equilateral triangle. What we have in Bosnia, 3 major pyramids, the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun and the Moon and the Dragon, when we connect their tops, the distance is exactly the same, 2,180 meters. So we are getting equilateral triangle. The top of the Love Pyramid, Temple of Mother Earth, entrance to the tunnels, another equilateral triangle. Triangle within a triangle, sacred geometry. Also, the golden section spiral, Fibonacci spiral, is element of sacred geometry. So we discovered 2 golden section spirals. In Egypt, there is one. So at the Giza Plateau, the beginning of the spiral is the King Thoth chamber, and on the spiral we have all 3 pyramids laying on it. In Bosnia, we have 2 golden section spirals. The first one is the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun and the Bosnian Pyramid of the Love and 2 more pyramid hills. And the second one is the mouth of two rivers, River Forins and River Bosna, the beginning of the spiral, and on its spiral, we have top of the Sun Pyramid, entrance to the tunnels, and the tumulus in Vratnica. They knew when they apply elements for sacred geometry, you have movement of the energy. So, if they knew about those elements, they were very smart. But maybe the major thing is they knew that the shape of the four-sided pyramid is the biggest energy amplifier for our planet. Our planet, four-sided pyramid. When they locate the pyramid above energy potent places, it amplifies the energy. Below the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is iron ore. Iron generates electromagnetic field. The pyramid amplifies this field. How do we know? Because we have measured at the bottom of the pyramid and at the top. At the top, the energy is 50 times stronger. At the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, and with my Russian colleagues 10 years back, we measured it also, the same phenomenon in Dakhshur in Egypt, the Red Pyramid. We climb the pyramid, on the top, the energy is 50 times stronger. So the pyramids are energy amplifiers. But not only electromagnetism. Below the pyramid, we have underground water flow. Water moves, it releases negative ions. The pyramid amplifies the concentration of negative ions, which we have proven literally on daily basis. The next one, the common elements that I can see on all pyramid sites, quartz crystal. In Egypt, we have granite. Quartz crystal is about 15% in the granite. In Cambodia, we have volcanic stone, that's iron, energy, and we have sandstone, energy. In Mexico, we have sandstone and granite, again, quartz crystal. In Bosnia, we have a lot of quartz crystal on the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun and in the tunnels. The quartz crystal has three properties. The first one, they amplify the energy. The second one, they transform the energy from one form, from electromagnetism to another one, through the process called piezoelectrical effect. They transform it to the ultrasound. And we measure electromagnetism and we measure ultrasound, both on the Bosnian pyramids. And the third property of quartz crystal, of course, is the storage of information. Today we use silicon-based technology. Tomorrow we will be using quartz crystal-based. So these are all elements that I can see on different sites around the world. Very exciting. And this is the only way to research the pyramids using interdisciplinary scientific approach.